Hello there, Internet. MegaMogwai here, and we're going to make Dominaria great again. How so? Well, we're going to build a wall. Actually, we're going to build multiple walls, and we're going to smack our opponents in the face with them, because that is what Dragon Trump is all about. I present you the most right wing of Magic the Gathering decks. Dragon Trump right here. It is a Banned Defenders aggro list, which means we take walls and we kill our opponents with them. It's absolutely glorious, and this is how it works. We play Arcades and High Alert as a 4 of each. Why? Because these are the cards that we have built this deck around. Arcades is a 4-mana legendary creature with flying and vigilance and an ability that says the following. Whenever a creature with Defender enters the battlefield under your control, you draw a card. And here is where the spicy shit comes. Each creature you control with Defender assigns combat damage equal to its toughness rather than its power and can attack as though it did not have Defender. So that means Novice Knight and Resolute Watchdog, for example, deal 3 damage when in combat. The likes of Wall of Mist deals 5, Gleaming Barrier 4, etc. Right? But High Alert goes beyond that. High Alert is the 3-mana enchantment version of this, but it does go beyond Defenders. As you can see, each creature you control assigns combat damage equal to its toughness rather than its power. So that means that it does not have to be a Defender for it to be affected by High Alert, which means that even if you do have the likes of Arcades already on the board, High Alert does help out Arcades, because it makes it so that Arcades hits for 5 damage instead of 3. So that means they don't really necessarily overlap each other, and that's where this deck truly benefits. Like, I have showcased this deck in the past, but I have modified it quite a bit as well, because before I did not run a full set of these two, and that was a mistake. I need to run 4 copies of Arcades and 4 copies of High Alert because they are the enablers of this deck. In the gameplay that I recorded, you're going to be hearing me say the word enabler. We need to draw into our enabler a lot, because if we don't, this deck doesn't really do much. But if we do, that is where things become rather unfair for our opponent. And that is obviously the reason to play this sort of deck list, because we are an aggro deck with severely overstated units. Because if we do play our 1-drops and our 2-drops and we get High Alert or Arcades going on, our little dudes are going to be way bigger than our opponents, regardless of what they're playing. Regardless of how fast they are themselves, they will not defeat us in regards to stats, because our 1-drops are basically 3/3s, and our 2-drops are either 4/4s or 5/5s. And that is just too much for any sort of deck to handle in the early game. So the idea is that we have a bunch of 1-drops and a bunch of 2-drops. We don't have Adamantine Wall or anything like that, because we want our curve to be very low. As you can tell, we're running 20 lands. Before I ran 23, but I realized that this deck wants to end the game quickly anyways. So we don't want to flood. Like, the last thing we want to do is flood, because even if we get mana screwed, we have 4 copies of Cerulean Caretaker, which enable us to not only ramp, but also fill in the gaps in regards to mana. Like, if we are lacking, an extra land, then Cerulean can make the difference. And like I said, we really do not want to draw lands past like 4 mana, right? We want to focus on drawing more defenders, so that if we do have an Arcades on the board, for example, we keep refueling. And that is obviously a very good thing. We have Tetsuko Umezawa, Tetsuko. He is our 2-mana 1/3 legendary creature that enabled us to give basically all of our creatures, barring the Novice Knight, unblockability. And I just made that word up, but whatever. Basically, our units, our creatures are not blockable, because they technically do have zero power, and that falls in the realm of Tetsuko's ability. And that means that if we reach a certain stalemate, if we're facing an opposing aggro deck or a mid-range list, we can just ignore all of their creatures and get a huge hit off on them. And we can potentially finish them with the likes of Tower Defense. Tower Defense is a 2-mana instant that was introduced also in Ravnica Allegiance, which gives us +5 toughness. And of course, that translates into +5 power under the right circumstances, and that is the deck list right there. It's pretty damn hilarious. It's rather efficient, especially if you draw into your key cards. Obviously, this deck just comes down to whether you draw into High Alert, Arcades, or not. Like, if you can find either of these, which some games will unfortunately happen, then you kind of fall flat on your face a little bit. But if you do manage to find your enablers and you set up a proper board, you can just overwhelm any sort of opposing aggro strategy, and you may just outpace a control tactic as well. We're vulnerable to board wipes, such as Kaya's Wrath or Ritual of Suit, but we have enough speed in this build to be able to get under them as well. So there's not a terrible matchup. Every matchup is potentially winnable, and the surprise factor is the most glorious thing with this sort of deck, and that is where its true enjoyment lies, at least for me. And that is the deck list right there. Hopefully you guys enjoy it. And I don't know, man, leave a like for walls and for politics and MTG arena videos. And I just hope nobody takes me seriously, because I have received comments in my videos in the past. Like, I made a video called "Make Grixis Great Again," and I had like several people like actually write me a novel in the comment section down below as to why it wasn't okay to joke about those things. And I'm just gonna reply to all that and say, you know, just don't take stuff too seriously. You know, it's the internet. You're not going to find a safe space where nobody will hurt you, and just don't let these things get to you. I mean, I don't know. It's just, jokes are jokes, and I think we live in an era in which people take things a little bit too seriously, but maybe I'm getting a little bit too sidetracked with that. Just wanted to kind of share that thought a little bit. So yeah, for anybody who gets offended by jokes, then I'm sorry. I apologize. And that's all I gotta say. Have a whole day. Hopefully you enjoy the video, and I'll see you guys tomorrow with more. All right, let's build that damn wall. America, I mean Dominaria. Fuck yeah. I'm 12. Mach 2000. MegaMogwai versus Mach. Oh, this usurper right here. Gonna have to take an ass whooping. I'm gonna keep this in, I think. It's not the greatest, but I do have 2 lands and the Grappling Sundew and High Alert. So I'm gonna go ahead and keep it. I'm going to drop the Breeding Pool, tapped, and we'll go on from there. So we're facing mono red. This sort of matchup, we want to kind of like outvalue them. They can't really deal with High Alert. Jesus, okay. Well, I'm gonna drop the Wall of Mist. It is a defender at the end of the day, and we're going to try to keep on defending. All right. Maybe I should have dropped the Sundew instead, to be completely honest with you. But at least, you know, we're gonna defend at this point. Like, that's all we gotta do. Good stuff. We are going to play the Gleaming Barrier now. We're just gonna set up our defenders. Stop him on his tracks. Alright. And we gotta try to see if we can survive here. We gotta hope that our opponent doesn't draw into like direct damage. Oh, well, if he has lethal, he has lethal. But I'm trying to set up here a surprise kill, which I will be able to do so now if he doesn't block. We're going for it. Omae wo shindaru. Bitch! Oh, nice way to start things. Oh god, just pummeling mono red aggro never gets old, man. I don't know about you. Oh my god, that was glorious. Oh boy, let's go. Yeah, baby. Oh man, at first I was like, man, I'm missing out by 2, but then I'm like, wait, I got the dive down, boy. Oh, easy peasy. Oh my lord, that was hot. Alright, so this hand, see, I like this hand in part because of the fact that I have Tetsuko. I have like every component that I need. The problem with this hand is that it has a very low start, but do I ultimately care as much about that? Also, like, I require to draw. I'm gonna keep it just because I have every piece of the puzzle, right? The problem is my curve is not there, but I'm on the draw, so I could potentially draw into. Well, I could try to draw into something, but fail miserably. That can happen too. It seems we're using mono blue tempo. I think this is a hand worth keeping. It's risky. Alright, we're facing a mono blue tempo who manages to get a Curious Obsession turn 1, so what are you gonna do, right? We could get Mana Skirt here as well. Like, this probably should have been a mulligan, to be completely honest with you. But we're gonna play Wall of Mist. We could easily get Mana Skirt here from this point onwards. I mean, it's not like this is gonna kill us super quickly. The problem is he's gonna be able to draw into counter spells, and he's gonna be able to counter our High Alert, amongst other things. We can't block the Mistcloak Herald here, and our biggest enemy is actually our own, deck here. Because if we don't draw into another land, then the fact that we can't like multicast stuff here is most certainly an issue. I am going to drop Tetsuko. Or try. We could get countered here. Yeah. I think this matchup. I honestly think I should have perhaps mulliganed. Like, not having a turn 1 play was definitely a big detriment. And I mean, we're facing mono blue tempo, so they had a turn 1 play and a turn 2 Curious Obsession. And that kind of combo can beat any sort of deck out there. So I shouldn't feel too bad about this one. Like, even if I mulliganed, I don't think it would have changed much, to be completely honest with you. His opening was too solid. So let's concede this one. I cry every time. I'm still happy about that last one, though, so. That still works for me. Maybe we got an artifact player here. Yeah, we'll keep this. Turn 1. This is like the best turn 1 play you can hope for in this deck. The Surly Caretaker. It's Defender's own Land of our Elf. And she does a pretty damn good job at that. We are going to turn to Wall of Mist because it has the highest defense stat and because it has the highest defense stat. Did I mention it has the highest defense stat? That's pretty important. Afterwards, okay, so we're facing Grixis. He could have a counter spell here. He could easily have a negate, which is obviously a bit of an issue. But at the same time, I'm just gonna try to flood him. I mean, I should have played the High Alert earlier, but I'm trying to bait out a... Okay. I should have got it. Okay. Alright. Redemption time. Maractus! Please be my victim, Maractus. I'm actually gonna keep this hand. We're running low on mana, right? And we have a 20 land card deck, but at the same time, we have a 2-drop and a 1-drop, most importantly. Wall going first, which is very, very key, especially considering we have one of the enablers in our hand here. And this is pretty nice because I'm going to play the Resolute Watchdog here. I'm going to drop the Breeding Pool tapped, so I take no more damage than necessary. And we may be facing Stompy here. Now, we have two options. We can set up the Grappling Sundew, or we can go for the High Alert. I think we set this up first. We miss out on 6 damage, but setting this up first enables us to hit him for a total of 10, which puts him on a turn 2 timer. He's not playing anything though. Now this is a little bit of a predicament here because green does have instant speed enchantment removal. But if he doesn't have anything, like a Thrashing Brontodon here could help him. But, like, he needs that to live here. Finds a land of our elf, and, okay. No, never mind. We don't have him because this can be blocked. This can be blocked. So, instead, we just put him on a turn 2 timer. That sounds good. That sounds pretty good. All right, buddy. We have the Resolute War Doc, the War Puppy here to protect our Tetsuko from removal in case he had something to like fight with it. We give it indestructible, and we get a pretty clean win right there. Not bad. Mono red and mono green down. We did lose to Mono Blue, though. Mono Blue is definitely a tougher matchup because they're counter spells. Like, the fact that they can counter our high alerts so easily makes it so that we need a very fast opening against them. If we can set up our board against them and get the high alert in, or the Arcades, then from that point onwards, they can't really stop us, right? But the problem is getting countered, really. This hand looks promising, but at the same time, I'm going to have to mulligan because I only have 2 lands. Oh, boy. Okay. This is better. This is better because we have this early Caretaker. I'm going to play the Novice Knight. I'm going to take 1 damage, I know. Sorry, 2 damage there. But I need to make sure that next turn I can play 2 units. If I drop this early Caretaker here, first of all, she's more likely to go down. Alright, so he's playing an Electrostatic Field variant. We're gonna do this. And this. Interesting. Okay, it's enabling that. Gonna go face. All right. Desperate times require desperate measures, and we gotta start applying some pressure here, which means we got a high alert. Unfortunately, that Electrostatic Field stops us from attacking. But I need the high alert on. We have tower defense, so we can get a surprise kill on our opponent, potentially. We have the Novice Knight, which can enable us to... Okay, so... He's getting some good damage on us. Dropping us down to 10. But at the same time, he is also running out of steam himself. We could attack here. And get a huge hit off on him. And that, I mean, if he doesn't... This is a huge hit we're talking about here. Oh! Oh, you're not gonna block! You're not gonna block, buddy. Well... Get out of my face! Oh, that felt good. Oh, you got respect. You got respect the borders, boy. I was gonna make an immigrant joke. Oh man. Let's keep it PG. Okay. Let's see. See, this hand looks promising at first, since we do have Novice Knight. Like, we technically have a 1-drop and a 2-drop. The problem is we have a 1-drop that we can't legitimately play. But I'm gonna keep this. We're running low on lands. Like, this is a risky hand to keep, right? We're a 20 land card deck. So we could get stuck here, quite simply. But we have early plays, like not only Wall of Mist, but we also have a negate. And I'm also just, you know, that good at the game that I'm just gonna easily draw into more lands and realize I should have never worried to begin with. So next turn we can play the Temple of Garden, we can drop the Novice Knight, and we can have the negate enabled, which I like. I also like just straight up flooding my opponent, but let's see. Let's test the waters first. If he had Thought Erasure, he would have gone for it already. He can, like, legitimately clear this. Like, he needs 2 more manas to be able to board wipe me, so I'm going to set up the Wall of Mist here. If he has a cast down, then so be it. Anticipate. Interesting. So we're missing on that 4th land. Unfortunately, well, I would love to see a Ritual Suit here because we would counter it. Like, this is how this would play out the best in my brain. He goes for Ritual Suit, I counter him with a negate, and then I draw into a land. I play Arcades, and I smack him in the face for 13 damage. And then he doesn't have any sort of answer in his hand. He cries again. He goes calls his mother, and he cries some more. I feed on his tears, and I win. Is that too much to ask for? Come on, Moilot. Show me that Ritual Suit. Okay. Ain't nobody got time for that. No, sir. Do you have a negate? Well, I have to play the Caretaker. Because she will enable me to ramp next turn. So, okay. Again, here's the idea. We can use Caretaker alongside the Novice Knight to play Arcades next turn. And then we can hit him for 10. Making it so that unless he board wipes me, Tower Defense should enable me to win, right? The idea is also, like, if he has a cast down or something, we can dive down. If he has a Ritual Suit here, then we just straight up lose the game. It's as simple as that. We get countered here, we are also pretty screwed. But the longer this match goes, like, with this deck, you just gotta go all in. I mean, not necessarily. It depends on scenarios, right? But when you're facing a deck with blue mana and they can have counter spells, you gotta go for the you just gotta go for the hits as early as possible. Right. We hit him for 10, and now he's got a bazillion cards in hand. So, I mean, cast down doesn't work here. Ritual Suit does work, though. But Arcades lives to fight another day, and that is always a fantastic thing. We can play the Resolute Watchdog, and because of Arcades' ability, we can actually proceed to draw a card every time we play a defender. And we can repeat the process here. That's why I love these cheap boys. Okay. Let me attack here. Alright, so here's the thing. We have Resolute Watchdog, which can enable me to give Indestructible to something. But we can also play the Ceruli Caretaker here. If he has another Ritualist suit, like by not playing Ceruli Caretaker, I have this and this. So I think it's actually better for me to preserve these two lands here. Because that way, if he has I can both defend against the board wipe and preserve my. For example, if he has another Ritualist suit, I can sacrifice Resolute Watchdog because he's a good boy, and I can protect the Novice Knight. And I can follow that up with some sort of removal geared towards my Arcades as well. I have both manas enabled. All right, that's fine. That's so fine. What card could he search for here? What 3 mana play can enable him to... At this point, I'm curious. I'm going to play the Ceruli Caretaker because I draw a card. There we go. We're going to play this. And we're going to attack with these 3. We have lethal right now. And we do have tower defense plus dive down. So let's see what he does here. He's going to Moment of Craving me. Well. Hey, I fucking laugh like an idiot, but come on, man.